What's going on, guys? Welcome to our podcast, Walking Manifestator. I am your host, Alexa Peña, and in this podcast, I am on one mission and one mission only, and that is going to help you awaken your truest and highest self. Embrace and embody your true power and help you elevate to a completely new consciousness. A transformational journey with the Walking Manifestator you are born to be.
The way you speak to yourself is either healing you or quietly keeping you stuck and in survival mode. When we say things like, I'm broke, I'm struggling, I'm lost, I am completely out of place, we don't realize it, but what we're actually reinforcing is emotional pathways in our brain. And this is directly tied into your nervous system. Today, I want to show you how changing your inner vocabulary can literally begin to change your emotional state, your energy, and most importantly, your direction in life. I also want to walk you through some of the emotions that you might be feeling. Maybe it's geared around emotional numbness, depression, lack of purpose, nervous system healing that you feel you're lacking. I really want to drive us into creating the environment that is nourishing us, the environment that is helping us thrive. And I really want us to be aligned with embodiment, with faith, and how to really rebuild ourselves when we feel lost. Now, the first thing I really want to dive into right now is our transformative vocabulary. This is the big takeaway that I learned in Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. And I had my own variation of what that meant for me because I realized when I started changing the way that I was behaving as I was growing up, and when I stopped being the victim in my story, when I stopped blaming circumstances, when I stopped playing this narrative in my mind, that what I was doing without me realizing it is that I was changing my internal dialogue that I was carrying with myself. Now I can actually put it in words, and I want to share this with you because I think this is a very powerful tool. And I have a very dear person to me that shared they're going through some stuff, and I'm dedicating this podcast to her. I know that I've been exactly where she's feeling, which is emotions geared around numbness, emotions geared around resentment, even emotions geared around feeling out of freaking place and feeling like there's no point in even living. So, in this first conversation piece, I really want to share with you something that's transformed my whole life, which is that transformation in your vocabulary. And I personally had to change the story I was telling myself. And again, this is something that you're going to have to fill in the blanks in your own journey, but I'm going to give you my example because that's the way that I learned best. So, I had a story for the longest time geared around, well, I went through trauma as a child. I was abused and neglected. And because I went through those things, I made it my life's mission to create a narrative that was geared around survival of the fittest. And you might be asking, what the fuck does that even mean, Alexa? Well, survival of the fittest means that if it's you or me, it's sure as hell not going to be me. And that kind of mentality really damages you. Because what you end up doing is that you either screw people over without caring about their emotions, or even worse, you care so much about what people think of you that you're willing to screw yourself over. You're willing to not set any boundaries. You're willing to allow people to make you feel bad or guilty or shame you into things that, quite frankly, you should not feel ashamed of. So, something that really changed for me is the moment that I decided that the stuff that I went through was simply that, things that I went through. And that's the kind of stuff that I try my very best to teach my kids nowadays. I make it my life's mission to teach my boys that what they choose to accept in their life is entirely up to them. and they only control one thing in life, which is their emotions, their reaction to it. I can't control if I get in a fucking car crash, God forbid, but I can control the way that I'm going to react to that. I can't control when a client decides that, they don't want to buy after I spend months and months and months of investing time and resources into them, but I can control my reaction. And we've talked about the law of vibration. And this is something that I really want you to understand, because when you can understand that the energy you are putting out is going to impact that vibration that you carry. So, back to my example here, when I've had situations that have really knocked me on my feet, I've had to realize, you know what? It's not ideal, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to experience this. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm alive. I'm grateful for the fact that I still have a ton of other clients that are willing to move forward. And thankfully, I'm blessed enough to have savings and things that I can fall back on. And I start focusing on everything positive. And maybe you're like, okay, good for you, Alexa. But what if I don't have that? Well, you see, I didn't always have that. But what made me be able to create this financial safety net, if you will, is that I stopped allowing my inner critic to get the best of me. And what that did is that when I would change the narration, when I would change what I was actually allowing myself to feel, let's say when I was broke, making $16,000 a year, and in America, that's like nothing, like nothing. Not only that, but I had a child. Not only that, but I had bills to attend to. So by the end of the month, like I had no money. I remember there was this one time I took my son to Whole Foods, and actually it was Sprouts, not Whole Foods. And I wanted nothing but to just buy him something that was organic. But I didn't have much money. I remember looking at my bank account and being like, what in the world am I going to buy him with what I have in my bank account? Because I had probably like $100, but that was what I had left for the rest of my 2 weeks. So it was like, okay, I want to buy him some healthy stuff, but I really don't have money. And I remember in that moment, I bought him a few little things, a few little organic cookies. I felt so proud of myself. And I also use that as a moment of appreciation to say, thank you for the fact that I was able to buy this. Thank you for the fact that I was able to buy something nourishing for my child. And this is where the micro habits begin, because if you're always focusing on the fact that you're lacking something in your life, you are always going to attract more lack. The law of vibration states that you cannot attract anything that you're not in vibration with, meaning you will attract everything that you're in vibration with. And I do mean this. My life right now, and I'm not sitting here and pretending that my life is perfect. My kids still piss me off. My clients still, pull green hairs out of my life sometimes. But I am in such a state where even saying this to you, I'm saying it to be dramatic because I want to paint the picture. But honestly, when my kids are starting to frustrate me, I just say, you know what? What a gift. I say it internally because obviously I don't want them to be like, wait, she was getting mad at me just 2 seconds ago and she's saying what a gift, like what in the world? But I do it for myself. I do it for me to calm down and to say, you know what? It's not ideal how they're behaving right now, but I'm blessed that they're healthy kids and that they're seeing their mom, because a lot of us didn't grow up with them. We didn't grow up with our parents. So I really need you to understand that your language equals your emotional intensity. Your emotion is the equivalent to your nervous system signal. So repeated language is going to create a new neural pathway, meaning that when you're saying I'm broke, you are creating more of that lack in your life. Why not change it to, you know what? I'm actually building my financial foundation. Instead of saying I'm depressed, why not change it to I'm actually exactly where I'm supposed to be and I'm healing and I'm growing. Instead of saying I'm lost, you know what? I'm actually discovering exactly what I want in life. Instead of saying I'm overwhelmed, you know what? I'm actually learning what I like and don't like. And this is allowing me to set healthy boundaries. The key point here is that you're actually not lying to yourself. You're just choosing language that creates a forward motion. instead of just collapsing and feeling like there's no point. And something that has really helped me in that is whenever I don't understand something that feels a little overwhelming, instead of saying I'm freaking overwhelmed and I don't get it and it's so hard, I just say, that's something new. I've never done this before, but let me see how I can figure it out. That simple linguistic change does such a huge impact for me. Now, part number 2 here is that I want you to understand what numbness actually does. And it's actually a protection response. So maybe you're on this category as my dear friend. Maybe you feel like, you know what, Alexa, I actually don't even feel anything. I was there. After I stopped numbing myself with a bunch of toxic people and a bunch of toxic behaviors and a bunch of toxic situations, I didn't actually understand that it got to the point where I numbed everything. I genuinely numbed everything because I didn't want to feel anything. Now, this is really where it gets tricky, okay? This connects directly to your overall experience. Emotional numbness is often the nervous system saying, I can't process more right now. I cannot do this anymore because you haven't been paying attention to it. It's not that you're cold hearted, it's not that you're an asshole. It's just that you're in overload survival mode. And when you are in survival, I need you to understand this, okay? Your system sees feelings and emotions as unnecessary. This is why when people go through like a tragic accident, they don't sit there and like start breaking down and crying. At least 99.9% of people, if they see that there's somebody like bombing them, they're going to keep running instead of actually like sitting down and breaking down and crying and realizing that they're getting bombed. Like this is a real thing. So some of the common causes that actually lead to this is burnout. And I really need you to see, where in your life are you feeling burnt out? Where in your life do you need to put boundaries? And this is something that I've talked about before. You need to be okay with being lethal on your boundaries. You see, nowadays, I don't answer at a certain point. If I am tired, if I am sick, if I am at a point where I need to prioritize my health, I just don't answer. I don't answer calls. I don't answer texts. And there was a time in my life where I would literally be in the hospital and still answering my phone because I was like, no, I can't. I need to. Versus actually being able to communicate like a human being and telling people I'm a human and you know what? I got sick. I can't answer right now. I can't talk right now. Now, the second part is something that I struggled with as well, which was responsibility pressure. You see, as a young kid that raised my brother when I was little, when I was 8 years old, I had a lot of responsibility on me. When I officially left and I no longer had, any type of association with my mother and I moved over with my grandmother, which became my mother, I had even more responsibility because now everything was on me to ensure that I got to school and walk and protect myself. And there was bullying happening and there was lack of finances happening. There was so much pressure that I became very numb. Then, of course, there's trauma that can also cause this, emotional suppression, and being the strong one for too long. When your feminine energy shuts down emotionally, it's usually because it has been carrying too much without support. And even if you're a guy listening to this, it's applicable for you as well. Like, I know that we live in a culture where it's like guys don't cry and guys shouldn't feel and guys shouldn't have emotions. And I get it. Like, guys get a thrill, especially like the guys that are in a healthy masculine state. Like, I know for a fact that they get a thrill out of figuring things out for a woman or figuring out things for like somebody that they care about. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is that we're human beings. And I need you to really understand what that means, because that means that we all have emotions. And when we get to the point where we shut down all of our emotions, it's simply because we have been in survival for far too long. Now, part 3 here is purpose is not just about making money. And I really need you to reframe this because purpose for a lot of people is a job title. Purpose for a lot of people is an accolade. But purpose, at least my definition of purpose and the successful people that I've studied, purpose is actually finding something that is meaningful to you, that is providing a service for people. Okay. So it's meaningful to you, it's providing a service, and it's aligning with your identity. And you might be wondering, like, what does that mean? Well, that is for you to figure out. I can't tell you that. But for me, making this podcast right now, I'm literally in the parking lot. My child just got down for his physical training class that he has. I enrolled him in some, classes for him to like really build his stamina. And I said, I have a podcast today. I need to make it happen. And I'm not going to slack and I'm going to do it. So I said, I'm coming in and I'm coming in strong. And this is one of my purposes. Like I said, I was going to do it and I'm going to do it. So purpose doesn't always have to directly tie into money. And that's the thing that we've been fed. So I really need you to see, what are the things that inspire you? What are the things that, if you had two choices to choose to do one thing and the other, and one gives you even the slightest amount of happiness more than the other one, go for that one. Because I am telling you, this is how you really create the life of your dreams. And I know that we've been fed, no, dreams don't feed us, dreams don't make us money. Well, in the Bible, it actually talks about this. In Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. Meaning, when you serve with intention, provision follows naturally. And that is something huge. Because I've seen it in my own life. When I actually provide value to people, when I actually provide service to people, I've seen how it has tremendously changed my entire trajectory. Now, part number 4 here, and before I jump into this, I just want to say, if you want for us to make an entire podcast again on how to find your purpose, I've already made one in the past, but maybe we can make like a new version of it to find your why. Let me know. Follow us on Instagram and go ahead and send us a message so that we can actually do content that is interesting for you guys. Because again, this is one of my ways to pay it forward. But I want to make sure that I'm on track with the things that you might be feeling you're struggling, or even send us an anonymous message, create a fake profile if you don't want us to know who you are, which you shouldn't feel that way, but send us a message. Now, I want to give you some practical tools for this depression and numbness that you might be feeling. And these are geared around neuroplasticity. Now, frame is that we want to really understand when we frame things a certain way, this is really what's going to allow us to change the perspective. So, language rewiring is something that you need to make a daily practice. What are you telling yourself daily? And I want you to replace one phrase that you tell yourself every day that makes you feel like shit and change it to something that feels inspirational. And I already gave you some examples earlier in the conversation. So I don't want you to feel like I'm lying to myself, Alexa. It doesn't feel true enough to me. It's not about that. It's about finding something that makes you feel like, yeah, that's what I'm working toward. The second thing here is I want you to have a 7-level why journaling. This is important because I do this. Whenever I say that I want something, I'm like, why do you want it? And then I answer it, and that's still surface level. Like, let's say I say, I want a new car. Okay, why do you want a new car? Well, because I am tired of my old car. Well, why are you tired of your old car? Well, because I feel like it's not really giving me the comfort that I want. Well, how exactly are you feeling about this? Because at the end of the day, the fact that you're, not actually answering with substance, meaning the truth is, if I keep going 7 layers deep, it's probably, if I wanted a new car, which I don't, by the way, but this is a perfect example because at one point I actually did, and this was very, very much what I would identify with. I wanted a new car because I wanted to feel validated. I wanted a new car because I wanted people to see me in a nice fancy car for me to feel like, yeah, I'm making that happen. Like, look at me. Now, I've actually been contemplating buying myself a cheap little $30,000-$40,000 car because I'm like, honestly, like, what's the point of finding such an expensive car when I could actually go ahead and have like a car that I just paid off completely and has no liability on me whatsoever. And it's like still getting me to point A and point Z. And this is really where you want to understand, like, why are you looking for the things that you actually want so that you can uncover the root belief. Number 3 is going to be your nervous system reset. And this is something that I'm going to share from my Feminine Essence Glow print. For those of you that know, I have a full course geared around helping you become the best version of you as a woman, as a fierce woman, as a leader woman, and actually live a life that you feel happy to call yours. And it's not just positive mindset stuff. It's actually creating a new identity. And I wanted to share this with you because this has really helped me understand myself to a deeper level. When I get frustrated, I use the 4-6 breathing technique. So it basically means you breathe in for 4 seconds and then you breathe out for 6 seconds. After you do that, you can also breathe in for 4 seconds and breathe in and breathe out for another 4 seconds. It's just about creating like a box, sort of speak. And what this is doing is helping you calm your nervous system. Also, cold water on your wrist and on your face is a game changer. It really helps you reset. And if you could just shower with cold water, that is so beneficial for you. I'm not going to sit here and go over all the health benefits of that, but there's a reason why they invented plunging, okay? Like ice cold plunging, it's a real thing. And I also want you to do body scanning. Like, where are you feeling tightness? Where are you feeling emotions that maybe don't feel aligned with the version of what you want to feel? And go outside and get grounded and take some time to just be in the moment and be present. Put your hand in your heart and just feel grounded with Mother Nature. Bring your body back to safety. Now, I also want to get into identity shifts. And this is huge because we talked about this. Instead of you saying, I'm broken, you're rebuilding, you're healing, you're learning, you're becoming. And the last part I really want to tap into right now is your environment is programming you. Your nervous system absorbs everything: music, conversation, social media, TV, family beliefs, everything. You don't have to absorb every opinion, especially from people that are speaking from their own wounds. This is why I talk about having boundaries. If you can't have boundaries, I am telling you, everybody is going to take from you because you haven't been clear enough on what you're willing to settle for and what you're not willing to settle for. And honestly, you've worked way too hard for you to get to the point where you are. Even if you feel like you're still far from your goal, you, I can promise you, your current self, if your younger self could look at it, would say like, wow, I'm so proud of the things that you've been able to accomplish, even if you don't feel that way. And this is really where you creating a new identity is so important. Bring God into your experience. In Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I want you to understand that when you just surrender, when you allow your actual intuition to just say, you know what, God, I don't know exactly how this is going to work out, but I believe in you. I believe in you and I trust you and I have full faith and commitment. And I know that you're going to help me get through this. There's something crazy that happens and faith really does move mountains. And this is really where I don't want you to think that when you're praying, it's just like from a place of passiveness. It's actually from a place of knowingness. It's from a place of knowing that the creator that made everything that is possible in this world right now made you for a reason. You're not an accident. You're here because that's how he created this energy that we were brought through, wanted us to be here. You were chosen. And you can be the person in your family's life that literally breaks the cycles that have been continuing for decades. And it's not like you're being fake, okay? When you're like thinking about these like future you versions of you, it's actually about just creating new habits, creating new boundaries, changing your language, and emotionally regulating yourself when you feel too overwhelmed and too frustrated. I just need you to understand that you don't have to carry the entire world on your shoulders. And if you feel right now emotionally shut down, I just want you to know that you're not weak. You're just tired and you are overloaded and you deserve support. And the support comes from you, my friend. The support has to come from you originally. And if you need more guidance, I always advise you to find people that actually care about you, people that maybe you can do some coach therapy through, because sometimes we make things sound so much crazier than they really are in our head. Your words are seeds, or they can be weeds. Your habits are water, they can nourish you. Your environment is soil. So I need you to choose wisely. You are always growing something. And you, my friend, are extraordinary. And don't you ever forget that. If nobody's told you this today, I want you to remember that I love you and I believe in you. And thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for loving yourself enough to want to get to know yourself to a deeper level and doing this type of work, because this type of work is not for everybody. And I'm just so proud of you for that. So I will talk to you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. And with that being said, I want to remind you, visualize, embody, and transcend. Be the walking manifestator you are born to be.